We like to think we've got a pretty good grip on how the world works, right? We trust our eyes, our logic, our gut feelings. But what if I told you that our intuition is often a terrible guide to reality? Today, we're going to put that intuition to the test and see just how easily our own brains can get things completely wrong.
So, let's start with a statement that just sounds, well, completely insane. All horses are the same color. I know, it's obviously false. But I'm about to walk you through a logical proof that seems to show it's true. Your job is to figure out where we went wrong.
Okay, hang with me here. Look at how this thing is built. It uses a fancy method called mathematical induction. It starts with a super simple base case in step 1, right? Any group of one horse obviously has one color. Easy enough? Then, in step 2, it makes an assumption. Let's just assume this holds true for any random group of n horses. The real trickery happens in steps 3 to 5, where it seems to prove that if it's true for n horses, it has to be true for n plus 1. On the surface, the logic feels totally airtight. So, where's the flaw? We'll come back to this. Don't worry.
Now, it's not just abstract logic that can fool us. Sometimes reality itself is just way stranger than we could ever imagine. So let's jump from logic puzzles to the real world of biology, where nature has cooked up some survival strategies so bizarre they just completely defy our everyday intuition. For example, check out the wood frog. When winter hits, it doesn't just get a little chilly. It literally freezes solid. I mean, its heart stops beating. Its brain shows zero activity. For all intents and purposes, it is dead. But then, when spring rolls around, it just thaws out and hops away. How is that even possible? Well, it's this incredible evolutionary trick. Its body floods its own cells with glucose, which acts like a natural antifreeze, stopping ice crystals from shredding its cells from the inside out. And if you think a zombie frog is wild, get a load of the assassin bug. After it kills its prey, usually ants, it sucks out their insides and then glues the empty shells onto its own back. Yeah, it builds this grotesque little backpack of its fallen enemies that serves two purposes. 1, it's a physical shield, and 2, it provides chemical camouflage, tricking predators into thinking it's just a harmless pile of dead ants. It's macabre, but man, is it effective.
And if that wasn't enough to make your skin crawl, let's talk about the Iberian ribbed newt. When this thing feels threatened, it pushes its own sharp ribs forward, so hard that they pierce right through its own skin. But here's the real kicker. As the ribs pop out, they get coated in a toxic poison that comes from its skin glands. It literally turns its own skeleton into a set of venomous spears.
So, nature is just full of these mind-bending surprises that defy what we think should be possible. But the deception isn't just happening out there. Sometimes, the flaws are built right into our own senses. We instinctively trust what we see. But what if I told you your eyes have a critical design flaw?
Let's try a little experiment. You can do this right now. Go on. Just like in step 1, close your left eye, okay? Now, step 2, hold your left thumb out at arm's length and really focus on it with your right eye. For step 3, bring your right thumb up right next to it. Now for the weird part. Keep your gaze locked on that left thumb, but slowly move your right thumb out to the side. At a certain point, poof, it will completely vanish. That's your physiological blind spot, a place where your optic nerve literally punches a hole through your retina so there are no light-detecting cells there. Your brain just smoothly papers over that hole with whatever it thinks should be there. A little unsettling, isn't it?
All right, so our intuition about biology is shaky, and our own eyesight has literal holes in it. Let's get back to that seemingly perfect piece of logic we started with. It is time to solve the paradox of the horses that are all the same color.
Before we find the error, let's just see how this type of logic, this mathematical induction, is supposed to work. The best way to think about it is like a line of dominoes. To prove they're all going to fall, you only have to show two things. 1, that you can knock over the very first domino, and 2, that any falling domino will always knock over the next one in line. This slide shows a cool visual of it. It's an elegant and powerful way to solve a potentially infinite problem.
So where did the horse proof go wrong? Well, the fatal flaw is tiny, and it's brilliant. Remember the dominoes? The proof showed that if domino n falls, it'll knock over n plus 1. But it never actually proved that the first domino could knock over the second one. The whole chain of logic breaks down right at the beginning, when you go from a group of one horse to a group of 2. In that specific case, when you make your two subgroups to compare, they have no horse in common. There's zero overlap.
The logical bridge just isn't there, and the entire argument collapses.
The mistakes aren't just in pure logic or biology either. Our everyday experience here on Earth gives us a really terrible intuition for the fundamental laws of the universe. Sometimes, the basic rules of physics can feel completely backward.
I mean, for example, what would happen if an astronaut got exposed to the vacuum of space? Our intuition just screams instant freeze, right? Space is, after all, about minus 270 degrees Celsius. But the reality is the exact opposite. Because space is a vacuum, there's no air, no water, no anything to conduct heat away from your body. You're basically trapped in a perfect thermos. The real immediate danger isn't freezing, it's dangerously overheating from your own body heat.
So, our intuition has failed us with logic, with biology, with our own perception, and with basic physics. All of these wild examples really point to one single powerful takeaway.
Let's just recap what we've seen. Our logical intuition was totally fooled by a clever but broken proof about horses. Our biological intuition was shattered by a frog that can literally come back from the dead. Our perceptual intuition was broken the moment we found a literal hole in our own vision. And our physical intuition was proven completely backward by the reality of how heat works in space. In every single one of these cases, our gut feeling was dead wrong.
And this brings us to one last really powerful question. All of these examples are things we can eventually test and measure and verify. But what about all the things we can't so easily test? Our beliefs about society, about other people, about ourselves. If our basic intuition is this unreliable on matters of pure fact, what other important things might we be getting wrong every single day? It's a humbling thought for sure, and a powerful reason to stay curious and always be willing to question what